Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Professor Sajad Ali, and you are watching the YouTube channel Professor Sajad Official. Welcome to all of you, respected audience. And in our today's lecture, I would like to discuss about sentence. And as all of you are familiar that without these types of sentences, we can't say that we are confident in English as well as in formal writing. We can't say that our English, our writing skills are good. And if you want to sit any competitive exams as CSS, PMS, MDCAT, ECAT, as well as any judiciary exam, so in this way you have to be confident about these type of sentences. और ये वो टाइप्स हैं जिनके बारे में मैं जस्ट आपको एक हमारे आज तक जो अलमिया रहा है ओवरऑल वो ये है कि वी सिंपली कंसर्न अबाउट दिस दैट हाउ मेनी टाइप्स ऑफ independent clauses in simple, compound, complex, and as well as dependent in compound, complex. Mean that we just memorize कि कितनी types इसकी exist करती हैं डिपेंडेंट सिंपल में कंपाउंड में एंड कम्प्लेक्स में. ऑन द अदर हैंड हमारी प्रॉब्लम ये नहीं होनी चाहिए. हमारी प्रॉब्लम ये होनी चाहिए कि हाउ कैन वी राइट अ गुड इंग्लिश स्ट्रक्चर एंड इन दिस वे I wrote here a sentence because I was hungry however I ate orange. Now आप इसको मुझे बताएंगे कि ये कौन सी टाइप ऑफ सेंटेंसेज है एंड एट द एंड ऑफ दिस नॉलेज आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू दैट कि ये कौन सी टाइप ऑफ सेंटेंस है. अब हम देखते हैं, आप अपना नॉलेज आजमाएं और यहाँ पे इसको अंडरस्टैंड करें. अगर आपने इसको एक्यूरेट वे में अंडरस्टैंड किया सो इट मीन्स यू आर गुड इन इंग्लिश, अदरवाइज यू हैव टू बी concerned about these things. And if you want to sit any further competitive exams, then you have to be confident, and even in CSS exams you have to be confident about these things. So initially I would like to discuss about class, because without class we can't understand these concepts. So first of all we have to be confident about class. As we are familiar that in sentence mostly we use dependent and independent clause, so at that time we have to be first of all confident about clause. Clause is a subject verb combination, and as well as you can say that this is a combination of subject and predicate. A part of a clause except subject is known as predicate, and we have to be sure about this this is a combination of subject verb, mean that she eats orange. Now look here, she eats orange. Now this is a subject and eats orange, this is a predicate. Now this is a clause. And in another example I would like to write here, he puts books on the table. Now he put books on the table. Now he puts, this is a clause, and on the table this is a phrase. In our today's lecture we have to concern about clause, because we have to use here independent and dependent clauses. So in types of clauses I would like to elaborate about the dependent and independent clause. In short way we can say that a clause which can't stand alone, we can say this is a dependent, because dependent mean to rely on someone else, as well as independent mean to be free, azad hona. So in this way I can write here just dependent clause. It can't stand alone, it can't stand alone, and an opposite of this dependent we can say that independent clause. It can stand alone, it can stand alone. And another example I would like to discuss about the effective approach, that we have to be good in understanding of dependent clause. So we have to be confident about this concept that a dependent clause start or begins with a subordinating conjunctions, begins with a subordinating conjunction, subordinate conjunctions. Further that we will discuss about these type of conjunctions, and this is a simple an overview of this topic, and because we can't understand except these things, so I would like to discuss about first of all overview of these classes, and then we will discuss about these things. So it can stand alone, it can't stand alone, and begins with a subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunctions, which are subordinating conjunctions? Subordinating conjunction. These are coordinating conjunction and subordinating conjunction. So just I want to give you first of all example of dependent clause, and then we would like to discuss about conjunctions and their types. A subordinating conjunctions and other concept is it can't stand alone. While she was taking dinner. While she was taking dinner. Now look here. This is a while subordinating conjunctions, and she was taking dinner. जब वो डिनर कर रही थी और इस दौरान जब वो डिनर कर रही थी तो क्या हुआ? This is dependent clause because it's going to rely on another part of a sentence. Without relying on other part of sentence, we can't understand the accurate meaning of this example. So further that in independent clause, it can stand alone. For example, we can say here, and we can mostly use, or sometimes we use coordinating conjunctions, or sometimes we can't use. It can stand alone, and it gives us a meaning by its own. Sometimes we can say this is a sentence. So example is like this. The bell rang. The bell rang. Ghanti baji. While she was taking dinner, the bell rang. Or we can say the bell rang while she was taking dinner. ये कौन सा सेंटेंस है? अगर आप इस बारे में कॉन्फिडेंट होंगे then we can tell. Otherwise, अगर आप अंडरस्टैंड नहीं करेंगे इस कंसेप्ट को, so it means that you are weak in your concepts. So these are examples. The bell rang, it gives us a complete sense. So we can say this is an independent clause. And because this part of a sentence, this part of a clause are not going to give us a complete sense. So because of this, we can say this is dependent clause. And this dependent clause is relying on this independent clause. And when we join these both, at that time we form a sentence. And after that, understanding of this independent and dependent knowledge, we would be able to understand that either this is a complex, compound, simple, or compound complex. Now let's talk about type of conjunctions. As all of you are familiar, these conjunctions join your clauses as well as phrases. So conjunctions, first of all, there is a type of conjunction, coordinating conjunctions, then subordinating conjunctions, and correlative conjunction. Coordinating conjunction, fan boys. Fan boys. F-A-N-B-O-Y-S, boys. Now F stand for, this is for, A stand for and, N stand for nor, B stand for but, O stand for or, Y stand for yet, S stand for so. These are coordinating conjunctions. And subordinating conjunctions, on a white bus. On a white bus. On a white bus. O stand for once or only if. N stand for now that. Now that. A stand for as or although, after. And then W stand for while, when. While, when. And then we can say H stand for how, I stand for if, in case, if, or in case. T stand for though, THOUGH, though. E stand for even if, and even though. These are examples of subordinating conjunction. B stand for because or before, because, before, and U stand for unless, until, and S stand for so, that, or since. This is an easy approach to learn concept of your subordinating conjunctions on a white bus. And for coordinating conjunctions, fan, boys. And now let's talk about correlative conjunctions. These conjunctions work in pair to join together. These conjunctions work in pair to join together. We can say here, for instance, either or, and neither nor, neither nor, and then not only, but also, and as well as both and. These are correlative conjunctions. Now this is a knowledge about these conjunctions types, and our mostly we use this concept in these type of sentences, and I would like to give you a simple and effective approach to memorize that. Either in compound sentences, how many independent clauses, this is for independent, this is dependent, and either we use conjunctions or here I would like to mention here. Now this is an easy approach to understand you, that first of all I would like to, instead of this that mostly people concerned about this, that they memorize a simple definition, and they mostly make a mixture of these compound and complex sentences as well as compound complex sentences. So I would like to suggest you here that you have to just be confident about this line I am going to give you. In independent clause, you have to just repeat a sentence behind me, repeat a series of words, one, two or more, one, two or more. Again, one, two or more. This is one, two or more, one, two or more. Just you have to memorize this thing, because one thing keep in mind, this is your cramming. Keep in mind, your cramming demands you that you have to repeat after 10 days, 15 days or 20 days. But keep in mind, when we just focus on these things, that we have to concern about 1 hour or we need a half an hour to repeat these concepts. So this is a way that we simply forget our concepts as well as cramming materials, because we can't memorize and can't repeat these things again and again. So we have to be confident about these things, that without looking or without moving towards any book or thing or notes, we have to just memorize this concept in our mind, and we have to just keep in mind that after simple we have to use compound sentence instead of complex. No need to use complex after simple. Simple, compound, complex, and compound complex, and then we have to just memorize this thing, one, two or more, one, two or more. It means that your simple sentence carry an independent clause, only one independent clause, and in compound sentence minimum requirement is 2 or more. Minimum 2, you can write more. Again in complex only 1, and in compound complex 2 or more. And in dependent clause we have to just memorize this thing, none, none, 1 or more, 1 or more. None, none, 1 or more, 1 or more. 1 or more. So now simply We have to just memorize these series: one, two or more, one, two or more, none, none, one or more, one or more. So simply, your compound sentence contains two or more independent, and your dependent clause none, mean nothing. And then complex, one or more, dependent. We have to just focus on this sentence. Initially I gave you here a sentence, and in conjunction I would like to just tell you that sometimes we use here conjunction, sometimes mean that fanboys you can sometimes use, and because these are two, so we have to use here, again we have to use here, we have to use here conjunctions. Okay, because I was hungry, however I ate orange. Look here, because this is a subordinating conjunctions. B stand for because, and I was hungry, because this clause begins with subordinating conjunctions, so we can say this is a dependent clause, and then however this is subordinating conjunction, and again this is dependent clause. Now look here, mostly we use these type of sentences and make different structures, but now would you please like to tell me here that this is two dependent combination of two dependent clauses. Look here, in any complex, compound or compound complex, look here, only two dependent clauses exist, two but one independent clause, two but two or more dependent clauses. It means that this is not your sentence, because a dependent clause can't stand alone, so we can say this is not a sentence. Mostly we use these type of sentences. Now I would like to just write here some examples, and then you would be able to attend any competitive exams, and your English would be a good English, because at different level of learning, means you are a student of matric, FSC, intermediate, as well as your university, BS, MPhil, or further that you are going to sit any competitive exams. Your examiner or your paper checker just demands you that a student must be creative, mean that concept and things which he or she is going to write should belongs to their own concepts, but writing is also a creative approach, that a sentence cramming is not acceptable in any exams. We can't memorize, or we can't you can say simply cram these type of sentences. We have to just focus on these things, and then we can form our own sentences, and this approach leads to an effective approach of writing. If you are a formal good writer, and if you wanna sit any exam, so at that time your English must be effective, because again and again if you repeat simple sentences, it means that your English is boring, and your examiner will feel boring, and as well as he will not be able to give you good grace marks in your these type of writings. So simple, in simple sentences, just we have to write an independent clause. For instance, we can say he writes a letter. This is an independent clause, and we can say an independent clause. Only one independent clause is requirement of simple sentence, because there is no dependent clause, so we can say this is a simple sentence. And then we have to give an example of compound sentences. In compound sentence, we have to write here, I wanted to go for a walk. I wanted to go for a walk. I wanted to go for a walk, but it started raining. But it started raining. Look here, I wanted to go for a walk. This is an independent clause, and but this is a fanboys. Okay, and we have to be confident when your class begins with a fanboys. At that time we have to say this is also an independent clause. So in this sentence there is existence of two independent clauses. Now look here, two or more without any dependent clause. So we can say this is a compound sentence. Compound sentence. Now we have to write a complex sentence. Your complex sentence demands you one independent and one dependent clause. So here I can write, although he was tired, although he was tired, he finished his homework. Sorry, his homework. Now, although, this is subordinating conjunctions. Although on a white bus. Although, this is a subordinating conjunction and our dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction. So we can say, although he was tired, this is dependent clause, and he finished his homework, this is independent clause. So we can say one dependent and one independent. This is complex sentence. This is a complex sentence. And keep in mind, initially I told you here about this, that we have to be good in English in writing, in formal writing, as well as our English must be an effective approach. This is a way that makes your writing an effective approach, because if you wanna, now look here, I wanted to go for a walk but it started raining. This is a compound sentence, and in compound sentences we use two independent clauses, and in complex sentences one dependent and one independent. Now it's up to you that in your sentences you have to not mean that repeat again and again compound sentences and simple sentences. We have to change different approaches. Sometimes we have to use compound, complex, and sometimes simple, and then we have to move into compound complex sentences. In compound complex sentences, minimum requirement for independent clauses is 2, and as well as in dependent clauses there is a requirement of single dependent clause. So first of all, I would like to write here an independent clause like this: although it was raining, we went outside and we enjoyed the fresh air. We enjoyed the fresh air. Look here, although it was raining, although subordinating conjunction, it was raining. This is a clause, and because begin with a subordinating conjunction, this is a dependent clause. One dependent clause, only one requirement we are going to fulfill here. We went outside. This is an independent clause. And fanboys, we enjoyed the fresh air. This is also an independent clause. Two independent clauses and one dependent clause refers to a compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentences. You can take the bus. You can, would you please like to tell me about this sentence? You can take the bus, sorry, or you can drive your car. Now, you can take the bus. This is an independent clause, or subordinate, fanboys coordinating conjunction. You drive your car. This is an independent clause. Two independent clauses exist in compound sentences, so we have to simply refer this is a compound sentence. Hope you will be able to memorize this concept Now, simply in our own native language, I would like to just give you here a concept that just you have to focus about this dependent and independent. एक चीज़ को मेमोराइज कर लें. अगर आप एक बेसिक लेवल पर इंग्लिश लर्न कर रहे हैं या एडवांस लेवल पर इंग्लिश लर्न कर रहे हैं, किसी भी एग्जाम में अगर आप बैठते हैं तो आपको चाहिए कि इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस के आपका ये प्रॉब्लम, आज तक हम पाकिस्तानियों की ये प्रॉब्लम रही है कि हम जस्ट फोकस करते हैं कि इंडिपेंडेंट क्लासेस कंपाउंड में कितनी है, कम्प्लेक्स में डिपेंडेंट कितनी है, कंपाउंड कम्प्लेक्सेस में इंडिपेंडेंट और डिपेंडेंट कितनी है. जस्ट हमने इनको मेमोराइज किया है, जबकि हमने इनको लिखना नहीं सीखा है. सो सिंपल हमने एक बात यहाँ से मेमोराइज कर ली. सिंपल के बाद एक बात आप नोट कर लें कि सिंपल के बाद आप कंपाउंड लिखेंगे, एक सीरीज माइंड में बना लें. अगर मैं अभी नाम लेता हूँ किसी भी, आतिफ असलम फॉर इंस्टेंस, मैं कहता हूँ उसका कोई मूवी ड्रामा अगर आपने देखा है तो उसकी स्टोरी बता दें. कासिम अली शाह का मैंने नाम लिया तो फौरन आपके माइंड में एक इमेज बना. सो इट मीन्स कि जो हमारी विजुअल साइट है ये हमारी लर्निंग में ज्यादा रोल अदा करती है, इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस के हम जस्ट लिसन करते रहें या जस्ट उसको रीड आउट. रीड में भी आपकी विजुअल साइट काम करती है. सो यहाँ पे हमने एक माइंड में स्केच बना लेना है, एक पिक्चर ड्रा कर लेनी है कि सिंपल, कंपाउंड, कम्प्लेक्स, कंपाउंड, कम्प्लेक्स, देन one, two or more, one, two or more, none, none, one or more, one or more. So simply in any exams if you are going to sit, so simple आपको यहाँ पे लिखना है one, two or more, one, two or more. This you are familiar with this कि ये पहले हम independent class के लिए लिख रहे हैं. Then none, none, one or more, one or more. So simple. थर्ड नंबर पे हमारे पास complex है तो मेमोराइज कर लें कि complex में दो independent classes हैं, कंपाउंड में दो इंडिपेंडेंट क्लासेस हैं, एंड इन कम्प्लेक्स मिनिमम वन इंडिपेंडेंट एंड मिनिमम डिपेंडेंट ओनली वन, और मोर देन वन वी कैन यूज हियर. सो ये हमारे पास कंसेप्ट है. कोऑर्डिनेटिंग कंजंक्शंस को देखें अगर आप तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास ये एक फैन बॉयज जो कि हमारे पास बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग वे है लर्निंग करने का, अंडरस्टैंड करने का. देन सबऑर्डिनेटिंग कंजंक्शन के लिए मैंने ऑन अ वाइट बस आपको एक बताया है रूल के, इसको अगर आप मेमोराइज कर लें. जो को रिलेटिव कंजंक्शन हैं ये भी कुछ आपको लिख दिए हैं. तो ये होल कंसेप्ट है जो आपकी राइटिंग को क्या कर देता है, इनहेंस कर देता है. अब अगर आप कोई भी सेंटेंस लिखेंगे तो आपके माइंड में एग्जामिनर किसी भी लेवल पर आप से डिमांड करता है कि बच्चे को लिखना खुद से चाहिए, जो भी उसका कंसेप्ट है वो खुद से लिखेगा. एंड फर्दर दैट जो मिस्टेक्स हैं यहाँ पे, जैसे ये पहली मिस्टेक आपने की है, बिकॉज आई वॉज हंग्री हाउएवर आई एट ऑरेंज, तो ये कोई हमारी सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर बनती ही नहीं है, किसी सेंटेंस में एग्जिस्ट करता ही नहीं है. तो अब आपको कॉन्फिडेंट होना चाहिए अबाउट दिस कि कंपाउंड सेंटेंस में अगर आप दो इंडिपेंडेंट यूज करते हैं तो ये मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट है. अगर आप इस कंसेप्ट को फॉलो नहीं करेंगे तो आपका सेंटेंस तो नहीं बन सकता, आप उसे सेंटेंस तो नहीं कह सकते. फिर हाउ कैन यू एक्सपेक्ट के आपका सामने वाला इसको ठीक करेगा. और अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारी बदकिस्मती ये है कि ये जो लर्निंग है ये हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल तक भी किसी एग्जाम में हमारी इस कंसेप्ट को देखकर चेक नहीं किया जाता, जिसकी वजह से हमारी हाँ फर्दर के जब आप जॉब के लिए अप्लाई करते हैं, एफपीएससी, फेडरल पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन, पीपीएससी एंड डिफरेंट एग्जाम्स, एट दैट टाइम हमारे एक ऑब्स्टेकल है जो हम इसको अबूर नहीं कर सकते. सो होप कि आपने इसे अंडरस्टैंड किया होगा. बेस्ट ऑफ लक. एंड कोई भी आपका क्वेश्चन है यू कैन राइट इन योर कमेंट सेक्शन एंड आई वुड लाइक टू आंसर यू. Thank you. Best of luck. Stay blessed.